Hi Cancerians, welcome to your weekly check-in for the 19th to the 25th of November. These messages are for Cancer, Sun, Moon or Rising. So if you're unfamiliar with those terms or you just want to look at your birth chart in general, there's a link in the description box for a website that can help you out with that. Thank you to everyone who watches the videos, likes, shares, comments and subscribes to the channel as well. It's all very much appreciated. If you'd like to book a personal reading, please see the info in the description box for how to do that. So these are the oracle decks I'm going to be using for today's reading, and we're going to begin with a Goddesses, Gods and Guardians card, and that will be your main theme for this check-in. So what do Cancerians or Cancer, Sun, Moon or Rising need to know for this weekly check-in for the 19th to the 25th of November? So what do you need to know? That was far too quick. It says divine messages and tell the truth, but that was too quick. So I'm going to try that again for you and put them back in separate places. So what does Cancer, Sun, Moon or Rising need to know? And it really feels strange for me saying Cancer, Sun, Moon or Rising. I'm just used to saying Cancerians. So if I say Cancerians, I mean Sun, Moon or Rising. Right. I am going to try that once more just because I was chatting rubbish while I was trying to shuffle. So I'm going to try it again, Cancer. I'm sorry. I'm just, yeah. Right. Last attempt. If it doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel right. So what does Cancer need to know? Cancerians need to know for this weekly check-in. Nope, not quite. There we go, at last. We have Leah, stand your ground. And as you can see, she's like a water, she's got water around her, so she's like a water goddess, isn't she? So let's have a look at the energy for this card. So I will read you the whole thing. It says, don't suffer in silence, ask for what you want. Leah, pronounced Leah, is an Aboriginal Australian water goddess and guardian of women. Looking down from the sky, she noticed a group of women digging for roots in the dry desert. The men in the village had created certain rules so only they could leave the camp to get water. The women had to stay put, thirsty and dusty. Leah decided to intervene. She went into the mountains, dug her digging stick into the ground and discovered a water spring that turned into a river. The women, now refreshed, formed their own community with Leah as their leader. It says, you have an extremely giving and supportive nature. Everyone can always count on you to be there for them. You put others first, go out of your way to understand their needs and bend over backwards to honour their requests. These are traits that often show up in empaths, healers, light workers, earth angels, intuitives and sensitives. Goddess Leah is urging you to set some limits before you risk losing yourself under a pile of other people's needs, demands and expectations. Leah smiles widely and assertively claims generous space for you by pushing her stick into the earth. She asks, are you a living saint? No. Are you being a doormat? Possibly. Do you have needs, dreams and wishes of your own? Yes. Start putting yourself first, ask for what you want, ask for help and be open to receive it. You may feel uncomfortable to begin with, but my waters will enliven you. Together we'll clear stagnant patterns and find fertile new ground. Additional meanings say, stand up for others in human rights campaigns and or causes that highlight injustice and prejudice. Clear stuck energy with water healing. Have a shower, bath or swim. Visualize water as energy flowing through your chakras. Write down your blocks or fears and immerse in a water bowl to release. Oh, I've never heard of that before. Actually, I'll speak on that in a minute. Leave a toxic or stale relationship. Take assertiveness training. God, I can't help feeling that sounds slightly patronizing. And I can see it's blurred. I need to pay more attention to that because I know it's a bit annoying, isn't it? If you're looking at a blurred screen while I'm talking, I don't think I can unblur that for now. But right. No, it's not any better, is it? Right. The invocation says, I claim my space in the universe. I stand up for myself. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with taking assertiveness training, but I don't know, there's just something that sounds, just maybe it's just to me. Feel free to share your opinion on this in the comments. There's something slightly patronizing about someone saying, oh, why don't you take assertiveness training? Maybe I'm being triggered because I know I need assertiveness training in certain situations. Anyway, could we get more of a stereotypical card for Cancerians? Like, seriously, it's a water goddess. It's talking about that whole thing about empaths and giving too much, and that's just like a stereotypical Cancer all over, isn't it? So yeah, and I'm thinking as well, so you may have some connection to Capricorn here, whether it's that one of the other parts of your birth chart, like I mean, depending on what you are, whether you are Sun, Moon or Rising, there might be a relevant part of your birth chart with Capricorn. I mean, Capricorn is opposite Cancer in astrology, isn't it? And I know, like in general astrology terms, Capricorn would be your 7th house, I believe, which is relationships. It's how you connect to people, because the 7th house is Libra. So in terms of connecting with people, that would be where like the whole empath thing and being taken advantage of and stuff would come into play, because that's how you relate to people. If you are Cancerian, stereotypically, I'm not saying all Cancers, are known to be very giving and loving, aren't they? So that, you know, that could make sense. That would make sense in terms of how you relate to people. As I say, the reason why I bring up Capricorn is I've recorded the Capricorn video, and it's pretty much what this card was talking about. There's something there where Capricorn may have been overgiving, so that may be relevant. You might want to watch that one as well if that's one of the other parts of your birth chart. So let's get your messages from the tarot as well and see what comes up for that. Let's see what comes up for that. So what else do Cancerians need to know in terms of their weekly check-in? Right, so we've got the King of Pentacles, who is known for being very generous, and I'm trying to think if I know it doesn't necessarily, it may matter or not, but I feel like Capricorn got this in theirs as well potentially, but in their reading. But I mean, King of Pentacles, it's an earth sign, so it would be Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. But he's very generous. But I think with the King of Pentacles, he'd be generous, but I think he'd have boundaries where it would be difficult to take advantage of him. So I'll put that there. That's the central energy. Let's get your energy specifically. We've got the Page of Swords, so that's your energy. So you could very well be learning something about in terms of how you relate to people, if there is anyone or a particular situation, because it doesn't mean, just because it says that you may be taken advantage of, it doesn't necessarily mean by everyone. It could, but it could just be a specific situation, you know, like say if you've got a particular family member that always knows how to wrap us around their little finger. I think a lot of people have that, don't they? Even if like you could be very assertive with everybody else, and then there's just one person where it's like you just got a soft spot for them. Could be a particular situation, but we'll see. So any external or surrounding energies. This is where you sometimes need more information as well. So say if you wanted to help someone, but they were being very vague about something, and you kind of were suspicious about their intentions, their motives, the truth of what's going on in a situation. And it's like you kind of want to help them, but there's a niggling feeling that, what are you up to? What are you really after? You know, like if somebody who never does anything for you suddenly comes and buys you a bunch of flowers. And this is based on a specific example in real life. This has happened to someone I know, where they buy you a bunch of flowers, and it's like, this is a nice surprise, but in the back of your mind you're thinking, you never do this, what are you up to, what do you want from me? And then yeah, if after like an hour of conversation it turns out they do want something from you, they're trying to get something out of you. But anyway, right, external or surrounding energies. You've got the Magician, and did I just say the word manipulative? Because sometimes the Magician can be known to be manipulative, to be honest. You may have a bit of a trust issue actually if you've been manipulated in the past or taken advantage of. There may be something at the minute where you are, yeah, you're kind of suspecting everybody's motives for everything. Right, guidance. Try that again. Guidance for you. You have the Nine of Swords, okay. Right, so let's get into this. Let's get into the clarifiers and see what comes up. So the King of Pentacles. Why is he there? I mean, I would say the first thing I would say is it doesn't mean, even if you have been taken advantage of, you don't have to stop being generous. It's just about knowing the limits and setting the boundaries, isn't it, really? So King of Pentacles. It can also, this can also be as well where you may need help. I mean, if you're the Page of Swords, your energy is the Page of Swords, and you need more information, it's sort of knowing when to ask for help yourself as well. Because sometimes with people who are very giving and generous, as it said in the card, you may be uncomfortable with asking for help yourself. Like, you're happy to give it, but when it comes to you, it's like, oh no, I'll figure it out myself. You know, and it's like suffering in silence, isn't it? As opposed to asking for the support that you need. No, not that one. Right, let's try that again. Try that again. Right. King of Pentacles. Cancer, your cards are hard today. I don't know why. Right. King of Pentacles. Why is that there? Right. Nine of Cups. Anything else? Do you have suspicions if people try to help you with anything? Do you fear their motives? That, I don't know why that's coming to mind. I think because we've got the Nine of Cups that's come out. So that's a genie, isn't it? In this Nine of Cups, it's a genie. Imagine the King of Pentacles is the genie that can help you to do something. But I think we kind of know from genie mythology or whatever, or films, programs, whatever, genies can be very manipulative, can't they? So they'll give you what you want, but there's a catch. So it is making me wonder, yeah, are you kind of suspicious in general of motives, or I don't know. Let's see. So you've got the Ten of Pentacles, the Queen of Cups. I mean, that's Cancerian energy, isn't it? Right, so we've got some opposites here with the Ten of Pentacles in reverse and the Nine of Pentacles in reverse. Right, so we also have now, this one first, the Fool, Temperance, okay. So with looking at that Ten of Pentacles coming out, the words that, there was a few words that were playing in my mind, and was it false hope or something was playing in my mind? So again, going back to that genie energy, it's like that Ten of Pentacles is like a bit of false hope in a weird way. So if somebody promised to assist you with something or give you something that was very valuable and stable, are you suspecting, and you may have valid reasons to suspect them or not, who knows, but it's like suspecting, like, is what you're giving me real, or are you just giving me false hope, whether it's in a relationship, romantically, if somebody was offering, because the King of Pentacles would be someone that offers you stability, wouldn't they, actually, if you were going to partner up with them romantically. Are you looking at them based on how other people have treated you and thinking, I don't know, man, I don't trust you? It's like you're offering, you're saying that you want to make my dreams come true and offering stability and blah, blah, blah. But is this false? Is this false hope? I would say that's you as the Queen of Cups, as the central energy. Then you've got this Nine of Pentacles here. And I've talked about the Nine of Pentacles. Well, two things. So independence is one thing that it can be known for. And then another thing it can be known for is comfort zone. It's like, and I would say with the Fool being there in reverse, there's something about, do you need to come out of your comfort zone with that? Because you've got Temperance there. I mean, that's a lack of harmony in a way, isn't it, as well? So, yeah. So I would say, I know this talks a lot about you being potentially taken advantage of, but I'm wondering if that's now had an impact on your suspicions with people and their intentions as well. That's the main thing I'm getting from this, rather than it being about who's taking advantage of you. I'm not going to go any further with this because I feel like that's enough. I don't think I can get more from this particular part. So as we move into more, like especially that Page of Swords, I feel that will make it clearer what this is about. I mean, it could be a bit of a warning in general, just looking at the cards without any clarifiers, a warning to you to be a bit more discerning. about who you share your generosity with. I mean, let's look at these clarifiers to me don't necessarily tell me that you should, don't give any warnings about generosity or being overly generous, to be honest. It's just like, if I look at the spread like that, it could be a warning, but the clarifiers for me are more about, do you trust people now? But anyway, let's continue. That could change. So Page of Swords. Why is the Page of Swords here, please? And you might rightly do Magician in reverse now. Yeah, with the Page of Swords, that suspicion about people's intentions and motives. I've forgotten what I was going to say now with that Stand Your Ground card. Okay, if I can get the thoughts to come back to me. It may be talking about in terms of not so much discernment in terms of where you give or what you give. I mean, yeah, that should be automatic anyway in terms of having boundaries with that. But boundaries in terms of who you trust, getting a balance between suspicion and correctly determining whose intentions are good and whose intentions are just, yeah, not right, to be honest. Like, are people giving to you to get, or are you lacking trust unnecessarily, or, you know, the balance with all of that. Anything else for that Page of Swords, please? That way. The Hierophant, and again, that's the trusting for me, because this particular Hierophant, I just had this in another reading. I think it was Aries, and if you've seen me with this Hierophant card before, you probably know what I'm going to say. It gives me S&M vibes. But S&M vibes aside, this one is a very dark side of the Hierophant. We know that the Hierophant can be a spiritual teacher, spiritual leader. There can be an advisor. They can actually be someone who is very supportive. We know that on the darker negative side of the Hierophant, there can be someone who's very controlling. It can be rules and regulations that control you. This is the dark side. There's the rule book, there's the whip. It's basically saying, if you don't follow the rules, you get the whip. These people are naked, vulnerable and submissive. So yeah, this particular card is probably more so the dark side. I mean, I guess it depends on what it's with and what clarifies it, but with that Magician in reverse there, the lack of trust thing coming up, that again, that speaks of intentions. What are people's intentions around you? It's like this is your energy, Page of Swords. I want more information before I trust you kind of energy. I want to know what your intentions are. I want to give it time and keep my eye on you. Keep one eye open around you, because I don't know, man. That kind of energy. Anything else? Two of Swords, that's two truths, isn't it? So it's the same thing. Like, somebody could be bringing you something that seems like a good opportunity or assistance or something pleasant, and it's like you thinking, this is nice, but what's your true intention here? So let's get another card. Yeah, we will take them. So the Hermit, that's trusting your inner knowing, isn't it? Introspection. We've got the Eight of Swords. And we have the Five of Cups. Okay. So the Eight of Swords, it can be seen in a couple of different ways here. One thing here, as I said, it's, for me, this thing is about the balance between your suspicions and genuine, I suppose, genuine suspicions and unnecessary suspicions. Well, I'd say no suspicion is unnecessary, but where it's paranoia or genuine suspicion, because I'm getting a bit of paranoia potentially from the Eight of Swords. But then it's also where, you know, like when you really, really don't know what someone's intention is, like you just don't know, do you? And you sort of, what is it, fill in the blanks, read between the lines. It's kind of both sides of the same coins, isn't it? Isn't it really? It's trying to sort of determining people's intentions. That's interesting. Filling in, one side is filling in the blanks, the other side is reading between the lines, isn't it? Because filling in the blanks is where, the filling in the blanks is usually where you kind of make stuff up that may or may not be true, but it's usually more detrimental. Read between the lines, we often say, is where there's something going on that you have a genuine suspicion. That might be the title of your video, actually. Yeah, it's giving the same energy about trust and standing your ground. If you're suspicious about something, then yeah. Right, okay. Yeah, I don't feel the need to, I don't see how clarifying any of these on their own will change anything, to be honest. Okay, let's move on to the external energy. So that's the magician. So that could particularly potentially be a manipulative energy, but let's see. Could be a call to you as well to use all the tools that you have available to you to establish, yeah, could be that, to establish if someone's honest and what their intentions are. So you've got the Queen of Wands, so that she's standing your ground, isn't she? Look, she's got the stick as well. This has happened to you before, hasn't it? Cancerians, in a reading of yours, I think we had a lot of sticks, and it talked about your fighting spirit and, you know, using the stick to defend yourself, and they've both got sticks there. So Queen of Wands, I mean, she 100% would stand up for herself. If she suspected anything, she'll straight up say, what are you up to? Probably. Seven of Pentacles, is it worth it? It's a card of assessment, isn't it? What are your intentions? Is it worth speaking to you, getting involved with you, accepting your generosity? What are your intentions? So I'd say the magician is potentially the person around you, a person or people or situations that clearly they have an intention and they have the ability to get what they want, but it's assessing whether or not you can decipher what their intentions are, to be honest. Anything else? Try that again, that didn't feel right. The moon, that's where things are not clear, isn't it? Where you just don't know. You have no idea. I'm trying to figure out how this is going to be helpful, because the advice is the Nine of Swords, which would sort of be saying, be careful of your anxiety. But then if you have genuine suspicions, you know. Okay, let's continue. Oh, yeah. It's where you don't know, do you? So you fear you might get hurt, which it's not. There's nothing wrong with having those concerns if you don't know someone's intentions. I mean, if you let it get out of hand and you just live in fear and cut yourself off from people because you're like, oh, well, I'm never going to know what anybody's intentions are, so I'll just keep away from everybody. That's dangerous. But in general, you know, it's not wrong to sort of wonder what people's intentions are sometimes, is it? You just want to have the balance with it. You don't want it to go too far where you're too far either end of things. Right, death. I'm going to I don't know what I'm saying now. I'm going to clarify death. Okay, I can't get my words out today. I swear, the last reading, I think I did Aquarius before you and I could barely communicate. Maybe that's the problem here, is what it would take to find out their motives is more transparent communication, potentially. Maybe that's what it is, but let's see what comes up for death. Maybe you are someone who doesn't ask the questions that you need to ask, and you sort of sit there observing, but you don't say anything. And it's like, well, if you just kind of put certain questions, like interviewed people, that sounds a bit harsh, but if you interviewed people, that would kind of, you'd figure out their motives more. But maybe you sit back and you try to observe, which is helpful as well, because I think, is it 90% of communication is body language? Don't quote me on that. I did do a course in it, but I don't know if that's right. But a lot of it is body language, isn't it? So you're not wrong to observe, but you do need to communicate as well. So, and you also need to, card of communication, 8 of Wands. I've forgotten what I was going to say now. You also need to communicate if you're feeling off about something as well. That was interesting, that card coming out. So it may be that you need to transform the way, something about how you communicate in order to alleviate or to help with any anxiety and suspicions around people's intentions. So that could be the stand your ground thing. It could be more about communication, because she's holding a stick, isn't she? It's a wand in effect. Anything else? 6 of Swords. I mean, that's where you'd want peace. That feels like the intentions, the Ace of Cups. It's like a positive, pure energy, isn't it? Might be a self-love thing there as well. So again, if there's an element of communication to it, you sort of might feel a bit bad about asking certain questions, asking someone certain questions, and feel like, oh, I'm prying. I don't want to say that to them. That's just prying. That's just me. That's mean. I shouldn't say that to them. But then you have to look out for yourself as well, don't you? And if the person has genuinely good intentions and you ask them certain questions, I mean, as long as you're not like harsh and saying, like just making outright accusations, hopefully they'll understand. And if you express where you're coming from and why you're doing it, then a decent person will understand why you would be suspicious, wouldn't they? Hopefully, in theory. So as I say, this energy here, the external energy, it's like, it's just still an energy of trying to figure out people's intentions by the looks of it. So I'm going to leave that there. Again, I don't feel there's anything else to add to that. So it's transforming, very likely transforming the way you communicate. And as I say, communication is words, but it can be that whole body language as well. Looking out for the body language and just connecting all the dots, putting it all together to make your assessment on what the intentions are, and not being afraid to speak up on things and express if something doesn't sit right with you. So 9 of Swords, I mean, it's an anxiety card again, isn't it? So guidance, what's the guidance here for Cancerians, please? Card of communication again, Ace of Swords. You need to be clear, and you may need to ask for clarity as well. And then obviously people can lie. Even when you ask them a question, they might lie. But then again, that's that whole connecting all of the dots and using all of the tools you have to assess that. Right, I've asked them a question, they've said this. Does the evidence kind of corroborate with each other? That sounds deep, doesn't it? Does it corroborate? Does it match? Are their actions and their words matching? Is their body language and their words matching up? Does everything fit together and make sense? And obviously, I can see my candle's gone out. There's no guarantee. Some people are excellent liars, masters of manipulation. They can literally get away with murder, but you do the best you can with the tools that you have and try and use everything together to sort of alleviate those anxieties and learn to trust yourself as well and develop those abilities of discernment. So anything else? 8 of Pentacles, right? I'm just going to pause briefly and put a new candle on, because if there's a dead candle, it distracts me and I keep looking at the candle instead of focusing on the cards. Okay, Cancerian, so you've got the 8 of Pentacles there. Anything else? Try that again. Nope, no chance. That's too many cards. This 8 of Pentacles might be where you work on any communication skills that you need to improve, or working on your anxiety as well. If you are someone who is naturally very anxious, but it's improvement, it's a sense of improvement with the 8 of Pentacles. Improving the skills you already have, potentially, in relation to communication and discernment and anxiety. So actually, the assertiveness classes, I know I said it sounded a bit patronizing, but it might not be a bad thing. I mean, I've never done one. I wouldn't rule it out, to be honest, because I'm fully aware that I probably need to take that for certain circumstances, but you could learn something really valuable in that, couldn't you? Well, it doesn't have to be assertiveness, but there could be other classes or online videos or podcasts or whatever that you could watch, or books you could read that could just sort of help. And then obviously you have to put it into practice, because you can read the theory or learn the theory as much as you want, but until you put it into practice, it's kind of useless, isn't it? So, right, anything else? You can also learn where people lead by example, like learning from other people. Like, who do you know or who do you admire that you feel like, oh, they deal with things really well, like whether it's that you observe them, talk to them, whatever it is. Okay, I was looking at that 9 of Wands thinking, is that about being overly protective or about standing up for yourself? And I think that is probably more, because sometimes I view the Ace of Cups as self-love. That is more about standing up for yourself, isn't it? Where you need to stand up for yourself. But again, it's the balance of where you may be overly protective of yourself and where you are standing up at the right level, I guess is the only word I can think of. Let's get one more and then I think we are done. That's the one. That's where, see, it's the balance, isn't it? See, this is you standing up for yourself. That's being overly protective. It all comes from a place of self-love. But I mean, I guess there is fear there as well when you're being overly protective of yourself. So yeah, I think that the advice is, if you want to overcome, if you're generally anxious, or if you're just anxious in certain situations or with certain people, working on those skills of communication, which it's communication that you give out and that you receive or perceive as well from others. So do whatever you have to do to improve that. and sort of learning the balance between protecting yourself and being overly protective and closed off. And notice how, so Cancerians, it's the crab, isn't it? It always looks like a crab to me, the way he's on the stones. That has got to be painful though, hasn't it? I mean, who could stay like that for a long time? Anyway, right, so I'll leave that there. Again, I don't feel like I need to clarify any of those individually, and we'll get you a final message from the Spirit Animal Oracle deck as well. So what's the final message for Cancer, Sun, Moon or Rising for this weekly check-in? Right, love is all around, okay. I don't know what I'm finding with this particular... I love the Spirit Animal deck, but I've noticed that for most of the readings I've recorded, your number... Are you the 6th one? You're the 6th one. I've noticed that the messages just seem like, as soon as they come out, I'm like, how does this relate to anything? I think there's probably only one where I thought, yep, that makes sense straight away. But let's have a look at this. So, Nightingale Spirit, love is all around. If I can actually find it. See, I thought this, I've just opened the book and that's the first page to open up to. Parrot Spirit, watch your words. For some reason, I thought that was going to come out. I don't know why. I guess that goes with this more, but let's see what's on the bottom of the deck actually. Nope, it's not that one. Right, Nightingale Spirit, let's see what that says. So, the oracle message says, in the darkness of night, Nightingale Spirit sings her song of love and hope, a harbinger of dawn to remind you that the sun will soon rise again. You are so loved, and the illumination song of the Nightingale Spirit calls you to a new level of self-awareness and connection with the light. Yes, there is shadow and darkness, but love and prosperity exist everywhere. Even in the seeming emptiness of space, darkness, and a starless night. See, I can't communicate today. I don't know what's wrong with me. Hearken to the message, letting the music of the Nightingale song remind you that love is all around. Feel it and trust in tomorrow's light, renewing your ability to recognize that the spaces that appear empty are filled with love and abundance. Illumination will happen soon. The protection message says, the darker the skies, the more it seems the dawn will never appear. But Nightingale Spirit is here to remind you that the sun will shine again. You will soon feel the love and notice the abundance that surrounds you. Sing now, put on some music or simply sing in the empty space, for finding the light within and giving it voice will give rise to hope and help you begin to hear the call of another who, like you, was beginning to fear the light would never come. Bring the light into the darkness with love from within. Give it voice and know that daybreak will be here soon. So it's not irrelevant, actually. That does make sense. I think first and foremost, that whole cliche thing of self-love comes into mind. There was something else that came to mind as well. The whole trust issue and illumination and learning how to kind of discern and see clearly what people's intentions are. That comes to mind again as well. Self-awareness, that came to mind. So self-awareness and awareness of others. So if you're looking at people and not trusting them, it's sort of having some sense of self-awareness of where that lack of trust is coming from. Is it coming from past experiences and fear, or is there really something going on with that person that you should genuinely mistrust them? And again, awareness of their behaviors, their words, everything, and piecing it all together to figure out what their intentions are. So I'm going to leave your messages there, and I can see you've had to look at a blurred screen again. I apologize for that. I need to pay more attention to the screen, but when I'm doing the reading, I'm focused on the cards, not the screen. So thank you for watching the video. I hope that was helpful to you in some way, shape or form. Feel free to like, share or comment on the video. You're welcome to subscribe to the channel as well. If you'd like to book a personal reading, see the description box for information on how to do that. And until the next video, Cancer, Sun, Moon and Rising, take care.